GPS, they tell me the traffic on the 1s and on the 5s. So if the 6:05 is okay, it's going to take me an hour in the morning. In the evening, I have more control over it. So if I leave at the appropriate time, it's 40 to 45 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Mixed use in the San Gabriel Valley. I have Pasadena, Alhambra, and San Gabriel. Certainly not confined to those cities. What city do you think is ahead? Right? I'd say. Which city do you think has the most mixed use out of those three?
Pasadena.
Yeah, Pasadena. Pasadena does right now. Pasadena has some really. I'm sorry. Yeah, Alhambra's coming up, and San Gabriel's not out of the game either. But Pasadena has, I would say, a significant amount of mixed-use development, and you can, if you've been over to the old Pasadena area, you can see how that type of mixed use has actually activated the street activity there in a good way. A lot of times people think, oh, you got a lot of people on the street, it's dangerous. It's not. If people have more of a sense of community, if it's a safe area, you have nice retail and office and nice residential, it can be a very pleasant experience rather than, driving to, you want to get a stereo or something, you go to the Best Buy and, there's a sea of cars out in front of the lot and you're dodging cars after you park and, you're like, why can't that lady back out faster? And it's a whole, it's a whole different shopping experience when you're shopping in a nicely planned mixed-use area. Alhambra, as you guys know, I'm sure, is coming up there with their own mixed-use developments. I think their Main Street area is the one they have mainly earmarked for that type of development. And here in San Gabriel has a new specific plan, I'm sure most of you may know, right here along Valley Boulevard, which was the plans, the Valley Boulevard, it has a fancy name which I can never remember, but basically it's a Valley Boulevard specific plan that went into effect in mid-January of this year, which really has encouraged development along the Valley Boulevard strip in San Gabriel. You've got developers swarming over here because the property overnight increased in value. And I would anticipate as we stand here in 10 years, this area where we are now will look completely different. Completely different. Property is kind of tough to shake loose in this area. A lot of times sellers have been in the properties a long time, are hesitant to sell, but at the prices developers are coming in and offering, I do anticipate a lot of this property moving because it became more profitable to build over here because of the specific plan. And here we go, specific plans and mixed use. I have state government incentives to municipalities. Some cities are, have planning departments, I guess, that are more, and the politics in the city as well, are more open to allowing mixed use in their communities. A lot of times, we have the NIMBY factor to deal with when you're talking about putting a mixed use project down the street, not in my backyard. You've got a lot of homeowners that wouldn't really be excited about having a mixed use project in their neighborhood. Because what they're thinking about mixed use is the liquor store with an apartment overhead, the kind I used to see in Chicago. That's mixed use. It's a mixed use concept, but a lot of times single-family homeowners fear that their property values will go down, and that's a valid fear if the specific plan and the development itself are not sensitive to issues of congestion and proper planning as far as parking and all that kind of stuff. So what many states have done are grant incentives to municipalities to enact mixed-use specific plans or general plans that incorporate mixed-use incentives. I think the specific plan, and maybe, I think I'm correct on this, I think the state of California made a grant to the city of San Gabriel to study and later implement their mixed-use plan along Valley Boulevard. And that's happening pretty much all over the state as well as all over the country. Now, a lot of times what makes a mixed-use plan not feasible for a developer is because the parking situation, the parking ratios are too high. In other words, a plan might allow a certain density of building which is feasible for a developer, but that amount of parking will be too much. I mean, the developer will not be able to place the parking. There may not be enough land, or he just can't do it affordably. He may have to go too far underground, 2 levels or so underground, and it may not, what they call pencil, to make a development work. So, what could a city do to help a developer put a nicely planned development in an area that he might not be able to because of parking issue? Yes, sir.
Eminent domain.
Eminent domain, yeah. Well, that's a drastic step that may not be politically popular. Something more minor? Build public parking. Yeah. Well, some cities have actually made their mixed-use locations nearer to public parking. What else could they do? Okay, they could grant a variance. Okay, that's correct, Lorraine. Let me rephrase my question. What could a city do in developing their plan to lessen the parking? What have some cities done? It's been done in the Bay Area, and I understand it's common in places like Hong Kong as far as parking. The structure itself. Huh? Okay, multi-level. Let's take it a step further. Not such a. I'm sorry.
Yeah, allows parking space instead of garage or things like that.
How about the hydraulic lifts? You're stacking the cars. Yeah. How many of you seen that? Yeah. That frees up a lot of parking space. It's been done. I think it's been done. It's done in Hong Kong. I've seen it in the East Bay in San Francisco and Berkeley, and also easing the parking restrictions. So the ratio won't be so strict. So that you don't have to park as many cars for your development. What would also help that? Okay, if there's not as much parking spaces, what would that encourage people to do?
Public transportation.
Mass transit.
Mass transit. And so oftentimes the mixed-use plans will be planned near transportation nodes. Here, as we stand right here, we're in the Valley Boulevard specific plan area, and we are considered to be in a transportation node. N-O-D-E. It sounds kind of like a node, like on your neck or something, but transportation node is an area that is near enough to public transportation where it's thought that people will reduce their car trips and use public transportation more. It's particularly popular where there's rail service, light rail commuter service. Yes, Sam?
Yeah, you see a lot of those. I'm starting to see a lot of mixed-use buildings coming up in Hollywood, right by the MTA station.
Right.
Right around there. I know on, where was that? On Sunset and Western, right there at the corner, it's like a McDonald's and a couple of shops, and then there's residential units right on top of those.
Right.
And they've been there for about a year, so I know Hollywood is totally getting